Hello and welcome. My name's Courtney, and in this video, we're going to be looking at adopting digital technology. And the key idea here is to support this adoption in a way like it's a critical project. So project management skills are applicable just like they would be to any other project within the organization. And this little image I think is really powerful because it's taking a particular subset of adopting digital technology, the data migration component. You've got to take data from your old systems, whether paper-based or we call them legacy systems, and transfer it into the new system so that it can be used effectively. If we don't have good quality data, we're not going to get good analytics. So the first arrow down shows us consultation, which indicates people, and then change management. So the brown circles are about people. And then we also have to go up towards the blue circles, and this is the operational, tangible project component. So data mapping, data cleaning, the testing, the final migration. Only then with the valid data can we move into the new systems. Now, interestingly, this looks great and simple on paper, but it's incredibly difficult to do well. You need a lot of people and time and resources. Xero is a company that did this. The software company for accounting software migrated from their own servers into the cloud, and they had to move petabytes worth of data. And therefore, this was actually a 2-year project to migrate their data into the cloud. And they actually ran their systems concurrently, the new system and the old system, to test and verify that it was working accurately. So this mindset shows you, very similar to any other project, how much organizational skill and people skill is required. Now, the problem is a huge portion of digital transformation projects don't work. We see here, and there's some unquoted statistics, 84% of transformation projects are not working. And this, I think, ties back to what I call Project Management 101. The basics of project management have to be followed here, just like any other area. So if you want to achieve this successful adoption and support that, you need to know why things are going wrong and take steps to prevent that from happening. So the first issue, according to Phil Lewis, he's published an article that dives into this. First of all, the 84% of projects are failing. What's going wrong? Well, the first is a lack of clear strategy. So sometimes people charge down this digital transformation path because it sounds good, or they're keeping up with competitors, but there's no clear reason for it. And without that goal or mission or vision to aim for, it's not that compelling, and people aren't motivated. They don't push very hard. From there, and this is a little bit harsh, ungrounded, uninspiring leadership. So if the leadership team aren't telling a good story about what's involved, where it's going, how it's going to be useful, and the key here is we want to be customer centric. We want to be helping the customer, delivering the service or the product more effectively than ever before, but there's got to be something in it for the employees as well and the other stakeholders. Otherwise, why would you do this? So ungrounded, uninspiring leadership. This, now we move towards the employee side and the operational side, and unwillingness to adapt. People get comfortable doing things in their particular way, and this is normal. Resistance to change happens at the organizational level, there's inertia, and at the individual level. And if we don't use proper change management techniques, proper consultation, and that's why I like that earlier image, it talked about the people on one side and the actual tasks of the project on the other. So yes, there's an unwillingness to adapt. And the final problem is this idea of focusing on the launch. Interestingly enough, in the marketing realm, people used to focus on the big product launch, very exciting, very dramatic, lots of media, lots of attention, because you had to win attention and then start selling that product. Now, that idea of the big launch is no longer as important. Nowadays, you can launch something and just keep adding and iterating via social media, places like that. So the launch itself shouldn't be the focal point. It shouldn't be everything's come together. The idea of slow but steady steps is more critical. And also, once you flick the switch, there's a huge amount of work and embedding, training customers, training people over several years, most likely. So we underestimate the seriousness, the breadth and the depth of these projects. So if you want to support digital adoption, you also have to remember the people, and this is one of the key problems. We get caught up in the technical side of the project. Wow, we're going to do all this data analytics. We're going to have big data. We're going to have a data lake and a data warehouse, and we're going to have the best graphics and presentations and real-time information We want to make great decisions, and we forget about the people that are affected and the roles that have changed and the jobs that have changed and the work that they do. So if we don't want to be one of the transformation efforts in digital area that fails, we need to remember these key broad steps. So what are the strategies that we can follow that lead to successful digital adoption? Well, the number one strategy is eliminating resistance to change, and that applies to any project. And this goes back to those key issues we saw. The only way to eliminate resistance, one, have a clear strategy. Two, communicate that effectively, encourage people to believe in that dream or vision and goal. But three, you have to do practical steps to show people it can be done. So if you don't train people with the new technology and the new systems and make them feel safe and comfortable, you cannot eliminate their resistance. So how do you train them? You've got to give it contextual and personalized. It can't just be broad brush, here it all is, go and learn it. Help them do their job better and more effectively with the new systems in their preferred format. So the items 2, 3, and 4, all designed to deal with number one. Now we want to maximize engagement and adopt pre-existing content wherever we can, but communicate to people, share, how is the project going? And don't lie about it. Don't say it's going brilliantly when you've hit some roadblocks, because everyone knows what's going on. Talk about the teething issues, the problems, the frustrations, but also the success points that show where things are going really smoothly. And finally, use data to successfully do your digital adoption. How are the users progressing? Don't just say, go and get trained. Track them. When did you log in? How did you go? What modules have you finished? Use that to figure out who is doing well, who's not, what's causing them to fall behind. What are the drivers of resistance? How can you overcome it? How can you motivate people? So these are 7 key areas. And then a little bit more specifically, how do accounting and finance professionals help out here? Well, a couple of ways they can support. So focusing on value creation, which ties in with that, setting a good vision and good leadership. We can support by using clever funding models. So if we need to fund these often expensive projects, we can go beyond regular debt and equity financing and be quite agile. We can focus on developing broad enabling skills and a digital mindset. So as leaders of the organization, we should be showing people how we use data and analytics to inform our decision-making, to set our KPIs, to track our progress, and adopting advanced analytics and automation technologies. And finally, an overall ecosystem model. So if we want to do successful implementation, we want to support that, shifting the focus onto the customer. Now that might sound very cliche and obvious, but a lot of organizations design their processes to make it easy for the organization to do work. And it's not helpful to the customer. A simple example, how do you contact a large corporate? If you go to their website, it sort of tries to channel you away from contacting them. They try to make it difficult. You call and they tell you how important their call is to you by making you wait for 30 minutes. So how do you switch that to customer-centered, dynamic, data-driven, and of course, automated? Because yes, you can't always give personal service to every single person. So the accountants and finance professionals have a key role to play in this area. So I hope you found that overview helpful in understanding this objective. Thanks.